Hey, what's up YouTube? It's Twitch streamer RADStreams coming at you with a video tutorial on how you can be out there in the real world playing Pokemon Go while mirroring your phone screen back into your computer so that you can utilize OBS and XSplit layouts that are made for Pokemon Go. How are we going to do this and why are we going to do this? Well, this video tutorial is going to show you how. I'm going to show you why right now. Usually there's applications already out there that will allow you to stream from your phone directly into Twitch, but you usually wind up with something that looks like this. Now if I wanted to watch you, I would want to see more than this, because this is what I see on my own screen basically. And actually it is what I see on my own screen. So this is me, there's my character, I got my sexy little backpack on. Now what we're going to do using this tutorial is allow you to be able to go from this to utilizing your own layout that you create or one that somebody has created for you so that you can take your game from 0 to 100 real quick. So this is the layout that I made for myself. Please don't flood me with messages, make me a layout, make me a layout. I really don't want to make layouts for guys and girls unless you guys are paying me, because I got more than enough stuff on my plate right now to do. So you can see though that I've got my layout that I'm using in OBS Classic. I've got my recent donations, I've got my recent followers, I've got my donation kings, I've got my screen obviously, I've got my chat right above here so that people can see what it is that I'm seeing, current songs, song requests, all that stuff. I've got my social information up there in the corner. So this is what our end result is going to look like. This is what we want. And the reason we want this is because we want to stand out of the crowd so that we can have, every advantage to grab the followers and keep them coming back with not only the layout but especially your personality. So personality is hard to shine through unless you're a radio talk show host, so you got to show your face a little bit. This is what we're going to do. Just to prove that this is on my phone and I'm not using something like BlueStacks, I'm using a Samsung Galaxy Note 5. So you can see here that I can turn my character. I'm going to close up a little bit and my green screen kind of comes through because the colors are kind of bleeding together. It does make the same shade of green that I'm using, but you can see here that I can turn my phone. I can even go back to my desktop screen and you guys can see what I've got here installed on my phone. Mostly nothing. It is 4:35 in the morning, so I do apologize if I seem a little weird. I am usually weird, but 4:35 is pretty weird for me. So again, we're going to go back into Pokemon Go and we're going to make our phone give us the ability to stream in this. And yes, if you look up at the top of this video, I am on 4G LTE. I am not inside my own network, and this is the problem that everybody is having trying to figure out. So the program that we're going to use is called Screen Stream Mirroring by MobZap. It's developed by Sloosh on the XDA Developers Forum. Sloosh has been very good at keeping up with the requests on bug requests, or bug reports and feature requests for the application. So I am going to recommend that you guys get the pay-for version, not only because he helps develop it well, but he put in just the right amount of features inside the pay-for version. So that we have everything that we need without any type of interruption, no ads, none of that stuff. You are going to need a couple of things before you get started or as we go along, and I will cover those, but this tutorial does assume that you're on a Windows-based computer. I'm going to assume Windows 7 or higher, but it does work for Windows Vista if you're using OBS or XSplit, and it does work for Windows XP if you're using OBS or XSplit. So this also assumes that you're using OBS, because this is the tutorial that I'm going to set it up for, and that you already have the OBS source video source plugin installed. You can get that from the OBS website directly. Now, the things that we're going to cover are what program we're going to use to make this happen when we download the information. We're also going to when we download the streaming server. We're also going to cover how to set up port forwarding inside your router. We're going to cover what your public IP address is, and we're going to cover how to follow me when we're done so that you can check and see all the cool work that I've been doing for my video games as well. So without further ado, Oh, there's a mosquito. Okay, so this program that I have right here is what makes the magic happen on your computer. It's what allows your computer to take the signal that's being sent from your phone out in the field while you're chasing Pokemon and allows you to relay that information back into your OBS or your XSplit. It's a free software, it's called Mona Server, and you can get it online. Link in the description. I'm going to show you what it does. Don't worry, it's not anything like the Matrix. I know it looks a little weird because it's got all these symbols and all these letters about what it's doing, but it's basically just letting me know that it's taking information in and it's spitting information back out again. So it's called Mona Server. I'm going to show you how to get it. First, you need to open up an internet browser and you're going to go to sourceforge.net/projects/Mona Server, and we're going to download the Mona Server Windows 32-bit binary. If you have a 64-bit computer, don't worry, it works on a 64-bit computer. The difference is that a 64-bit program can allocate more memory to itself, but this program is so small it doesn't need but a couple of megabytes to run. So it's not like you have to have a 64-bit computer, it'll run on 32-bit or 64-bit and you shouldn't have to worry about it. The next thing is we're going to go ahead and download it, and once we start the process in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, then it should download. I would just recommend putting it on your desktop so that it's easy to find. I've already got a copy of it, but I'll download it again. And I know mine says failed, but that's okay. I know where it is already, so we're going to open this. And you'll need to extract it. If you're not familiar with extracting, then I'm sorry, you should probably try to download a zip file more often. So basically, we're going to put this into a new folder. Extracting basically is taking the contents of one compact file and expanding them. It's like packing clothes into a box and you stuff them in there, and you like put all this, you can pack them down so far, and then you pull them all out and throw them on the bed. You're like, wow, I can't believe I had all that in there, basically. So you're making multiple files into one slightly smaller than the whole file, and then you take them all out and put them into another container. So in this we have our 4 files that we're extracting, so you're going to put them into a new folder. I'm going to go ahead and skip this process since I've already done it. I know that I have got a www and a logs folder. Do not create those on your own, it's not necessary. The Mona Server application will create those for you when you run it. So what you'll want to do now is you'll want to go ahead and run the Mona Server, and it will look like this on first run. It's not going to have all the Matrix stuff, but this is definitely where you want to be. It will ask you the first time that you open it if you would like to allow it to run and access your network resources. You want to tell it yes, because if you don't, you are pretty much denying it the ability to listen to your phone while you're out there chasing Pokemon. So all of this will be for nothing if you don't tell it yes, you want to allow it to do what it needs to do. Okay, so once you've allowed it to do what it needs to do, we need to go and make a doorway for our phone to come into our home network, and then a doorway for our phone to come into our computer, and we need to test that before we can make sure that everything's working. So what you're going to do for that is you're going to go into your router's setup process, setup screen, and if you don't know how to get there, usually if you just click on your start button and you type CMD, like can mark dance, yes I can, then it will come up with the command prompt after you press enter, and then you type IPCONFIG, and then you press enter again, and then you're going to scroll back up to the top, and you're looking for the default gateway that is 192.168.0.1 on my machine, but you want to use whatever your machine says for the default gateway. You want to make sure that you include the dots. Those are important. That's what separates, it's basically subnetting, so long explanation short, you kind of need those. It's like an area code, and then you've got your prefix and your suffix on the phone number. So it's the same thing basically for a computer. So you've got 192.168.0.1. You're going to take that number and write it down. If you can't memorize it, then open up an internet browser and go to 192.168.0.1 or 192.168.1.1 or 2.1 or whatever yours says. You need to plug that into your internet browser, not in a search bar, but directly in the URL bar. If you're going to use Internet Explorer, you need to make sure to include the http:// portion before it, or it will not go. It will try to redirect you into a search engine and you'll never get in. So make sure you include the http:// if you're on Internet Explorer. Once you're in, you will arrive to a login page usually, and you can log in most of the time with most default routers. The password is either going to be admin password, admin blank, or blank admin. Sometimes it'll be default password or default admin, but for the most part, the first four that I named, admin password, admin blank, and blank admin, are going to be the defaults for most routers. If you have somebody like CenturyLink or Cox Communications provided, it's called a gateway, it's a modem router all in one. If it has Ethernet ports on it that allow you to connect multiple computers, then it's a gateway basically. So a lot of those devices will have the admin username and password written on a sticker on the side or on the bottom. So if you're not sure, check that first. And if you had somebody set it up for you, try to get a hold of them to see if they know what it is, if it was changed from the default. You can also go to our lovely Google and you can say, hey, what is the default username and password? See, that's literally the most common, one of the most common questions asked is for Linksys, Asus router, Windstream router, Netgear, D-Link, TP-Link, Rocketfish. There's just a ton of different routers. You press enter on your search and it'll come up with it usually in the first box. You won't even have to go to a website. So you're going to plug in that information that you get here so that you can log into your router. And then the next place you need to go is going to be to the Advanced tab. And then you need to go to Forwarding. If you don't have an Advanced tab, look for something that says Expert or I know what I'm doing, basically. And then you're going to look for Forwarding, and it'll either say Port Forwarding or Virtual Servers, or sometimes it'll say NAT Forwarding, depending on what kind of router you have. Usually the business class routers will say NAT Forwarding or something similar to that, and then the consumer side ones will say Virtual Servers or usually Port Forwarding. And then all you want to do here is you want to make sure you add a new port, and you're going to go back to your black box if you didn't close it. If you did, then you're going to go back to Start, CMD, IPconfig, scroll back up to the top, and you're going to look for the IPv4 address, which in this instance, mine is 192.168.0.69 for a reason. So whatever yours says, you're going to write that down, and then you're going to plug it into this and your service port, which is the first door your phone's broadcast needs to get into from the outside world to your home network to reach your computer. I'm calling it a door just so you can visualize it. It's actually called a port. Is going to be 1935. The internal port, so once it's inside your home network, it needs to know which computer to go to and which door to use in that computer. That's also going to be door number 1935, basically. The IP address, which tells your router which computer inside your network to send it to, is going to be the number that you just wrote down, 192.168.0.69. In my instance, yours may be like 1.101 or 0.101 or 0.10 or 0.15, something like that, something similar. The protocol, just leave all enabled, and then they're all turned on and make sure it's enabled. And don't worry about common service port. Basically what happens is if you click that, it changes this to a default setting for some standardized services that are out there that we're not going to discuss right now. So make sure it's 1935 for both. It can be changed later, but for the purpose of this, I just want to get it done quickly. You don't have to worry about changing it to anything else, because 99.99999% of the time you're not going to be using port number 1935 for anything else. So we will make sure that this is, we'll hit save there. I'm going to hit back because mine's already done, and then boom, you've got your service port in there. It's pointing to your computer, and that is everything that you need for this. Now normally, 99.99999% of the time, your router will need to be restarted in order for that change of opening that port to take effect. And normally when you create that, it'll either reboot itself and it'll tell you like rebooting to apply configuration changes, or in my case I'll get a red instance down here that'll say these changes will not take effect until you restart your router. Click here to restart your router. And so you have to restart your router. Make sure you save this video before you go restarting it if you don't remember who I am, or you don't know how to find this video again if you're really wanting to do this. Make it a favorite, drag it onto your bookmarks or on your desktop, don't lose the video, restart your router, come back. Welcome back. Alright, cool. Now that you've gotten your router restarted, that's the first door from the outside world into your computer. Now that's for the router's door. Now the router says, okay, welcome in, find the house you need to go to, basically. So we're going to tell it to go to our computer, or it's going to tell it to go to our computer, and then we have to tell our computer to let door number 1935 in when it gets there. So you're going to click on start, you're going to type firewall, and then you're going to go to Windows Firewall with Advanced Security. This is the same layout since Windows XP. So XP, Vista 7, 8, 8.1, 10, Server 2012, Server 2008, and I'm pretty sure Server 2003 all look identical in terms of, or at least mostly identical in terms of this. So we're going to click on Inbound Rules, and then we're going to go to New Rule, and we're going to tell it that we want to allow port. And granted, this is kind of redundant in terms of what we did earlier when we told it to allow this program in, but this is just to make sure that it's there. So you really only need to allow TCP for this, and then 1935, and then we're going to hit next, allow the connection. Make sure on this previous page, do not allow all local ports. That is no. That is just no. That's bad. That's no. No. Only port 1935 is to be opened on this machine. Hit next, make sure that you allow the connection, and then you want these to be checked. The reason why I'm saying you want all of these to be checked is some of you don't have a proper setup, and I'm just trying to eliminate the possibility that this will not work for you. But if you happen to have your network set to a public network, then it won't work because you'll be troubleshooting and you won't realize that your network is set to public, and then we'll be running around and scrambling for no reason. So just for the purpose of this, just set it to public. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to set it to Mona server, and you can give it a description that says allows me to stream Pokemon Go while out in the real world. Okay, and then you hit finish. Bada bing, bada boom, it shows up right here. Mona server. You can see port 1935 is on and it's green, so that means it's enabled. And then go ahead and close this out. You may need to restart your computer. I'm going to delete this rule because I already have one. You do not delete your rule, you leave it there, okay? Restart your computer just to be safe, and then you'll come back and you'll be back at your desktop. Okay, so once you log back into your computer, what you're going to do is we need to go back to the internet. So up to this point we have configured our router, we've configured our computer, and we've got the Mona software running, or at least on our computer. Go ahead and start the Mona software, and it will say HTTP server permission denied. That's okay. We're not going to run it on an HTTP socket port. Port 80 is the common HTTP one. That's for usually web remote services so that you can reconfigure it from the web. You don't need to do any of that. There's like zero configuration to this program. It's all in the router and all in your computer, so don't worry about it. So now that you're back and you've restarted your router and you've restarted your Windows firewall. Oh, before we continue, about firewalls, you'll notice that I have a Avast free antivirus. It says I'm unprotected right now because I've got my protections turned off. Don't do that unless you know what you're doing and why you're doing it. But if you have something like Avast Internet Security, Norton Internet Security, McAfee Internet Security, Panda Internet Security, Trend Micro Internet Security, Zone Alarm, basically anything with a firewall, Kaspersky Internet Security, those extra internet security programs are third-party firewalls built in. So you have to figure out how to enable port 1935 to go through your firewall as well. And if at the end of this tutorial you followed everything and you still can't get it to work and you have a firewall software, I would recommend doing a temporary uninstall and seeing if that fixes your problem, and if it does, I highly recommend that you switch to Avast. I love Avast, it's the free edition, you just register it to your email address and then you're done. Okay, so continuing on, once you've got all this stuff rebooted and you've gotten your Windows firewall configured and your third-party firewall configured, we now need to test the connection into our Mona server. So in order to do that, we're going to go to canyouseeme.org. And sometimes this page does take a little while to load, but there's two things that we're going to do here. First, look at your IP. It's inside a gray box. You can't change it. It won't allow you to type anything in here. It's scripted and it pulls your public-facing IP address, and this is what you're going to enter into your phone later. So make sure that you have this saved onto your computer, because, or at least written down somewhere on a piece of paper, because we're going to need this here in about 5 minutes. The second thing that you need to do is change this port to check from 80, which is the default for most applications, and change it to 1935, okay? Also, about your IP address, don't give it to anybody, because it's like giving a stranger your address and saying, come get me, because IP addresses are basically a direct connection from the outside world to your modem, and then if they know how to circumvent the security measures of your modem and your router, then they can basically do whatever they want to your computer. I know that's a blanket generic scare you statement, but just my disclaimer, don't give this number to anybody. It's not something you want to do. Okay, so once you have your port entered as 1935, which is the first and second doors from the outside world into your computer that we entered, you're going to click on check port. Success! I can see your service on IP address for port 1935. That's good. So now our next step is we're going to download the screen stream mirroring application. You do not have to go to the website. I'm just bringing it up so that you know what it looks like. I'm actually going to go ahead and start my stream on my phone, and so that we can get that mirrored up, and I'll show you where we're going now. Okay, so starting from your home page, go ahead and go to your Play Store, and in your Play Store you're going to search for Screen Stream Mirroring. You can even just look for Screen Stream, it's usually the _1 thing here. There are two versions. There's the 3.8 star version, which is the pay for version. I believe it's either $3.99, $4.99, possibly $5.99. Guys, it's well worth it. As I said earlier, Sloosh is definitely on his game and trying to keep up with the application and fixing all the bugs that come in and adding new features and stuff like that. There is the reason why it has a lower star rating than the other one is because a lot of people bought the program initially when it came out before all the bugs were worked out, and they didn't like it, or it wasn't compatible, or something was broken that they needed, and so Sloosh fixed it all, but by then they had already given him 1 star and then they left. So they went back to the free version and they liked it for the features that it offered, and then that was it. So you can do the free version, but there's a couple of features that are missing. I really recommend the small investment into the pay-for version. Just really helps. I'm not getting paid for this. I just recommend this program so that we can get this done the way it's supposed to be done. Oh, there's another update. Literally, this program just came out. The newest update came out. Anyway, so once you have the program downloaded and installed, you're going to go to the other server. You're going to open it, and then you're going to go to the other server section right here. You're going to have the yellow broadcast banner is what I call it. We're going to click on the gear underneath the stop button. That brings us into the screen stream mirroring section specifically for other broadcasts. All right. So here we have our server URL, and you're going to tap on that, and it should be empty except for rtmp://. You're going to put your public-facing IP address in here. That's the number that we couldn't change that was on the canyousseeme.org website when we were doing our test. So that number, whatever it is, number, whatever. You take that number, you put it in here, and then you put a :1935. And the reason why we're doing that is we're telling our phone, this is the home you're going to, and you're gonna knock on the router's door, and you're gonna say, let me in. And you're gonna try to go through door 1935, and that's the only door it's gonna let you stream this video through. Okay? And then once the router says, hey, you're coming in for 1935, you need to go to this house or this computer inside of our home network and also knock on door 1935, and it'll let you in so that you can hit the Monos server, basically, okay? So you guys now have a basic understanding of what's happening when you try to forward ports. And this works in the same fashion, like if you want to use OBS remote for your cell phone, if you have two of them, which is what I'm doing. It also is how you would host a Mumble server or a video game server, your own Minecraft server. It's how you would host Unreal Tournament server, Ventrilo server, all types of servers. A Shoutcast server if you want to have your own radio station. You do all these things. The only difference is that you would change the port number that we've been putting in. So the 1935, it would be different for whatever kind of server that you're trying to run based on whatever the application needs. Like, for example, you saw port number 4444 open earlier on my screen. That was open because I'm using OBS remote to control my OBS from my second phone while I'm out and about and streaming. So I can start my stream, stop my stream, and all that stuff using OBS remote from my second phone while I'm playing Pokemon Go on my first phone. So there you go. Alright, in terms of settings here, we're all familiar with the stream key if you're on Twitch. That is not necessary because the stream key is a unique identifier that Twitch uses for your specific broadcast, but since it's just you broadcasting into just your computer, you don't need a stream key. The software isn't even going to request it. So if you want to have a generic overlays to where sorry, that gray artifacting is just because my internet connection is unstable at the moment. That will happen occasionally. It happens on phones all the time. Sometimes it even happens on computers, so don't worry about it. If you look to the left and right, there's a black bar on either side. You can design a static non-moving overlay and you can put it directly in here. So if I designed an overlay that was, you know, widescreen 16:9, and it was I'm broadcasting in 720 right now, so if it was 1280 pixels wide by 720 tall, it would take up this space right here, and then it would set my stream directly in the center, and it would have, you know, whatever I wanted on it. So it would basically be like a non-moving version of this with the phone basically dead center. So if you want to do that, this software will do it. It's a great piece of tech that you can have on your Android phone, but we are taking this a step further to make you stand out from the crowd. So you can have a front-facing camera. I will demonstrate that later on, and then you'll want to make sure that you adjust your settings accordingly. Usually the defaults for 720 and 2048 kilobits per second is good enough for the stream that we're going to do. I'm actually using this right now on 4G LTE, so you have a good idea of what the quality would look like if you have a good connection. Make sure that force landscape display is turned on. What that does is if you happen to turn your phone sideways, instead of crashing OBS like it used to do, it actually fills it up this way, but it only does that in landscape mode, which is great if you're going to stream a game like Clash of Clans, Boom Beach, Battle Cats, stuff like that. But for our purposes, we're going to stream it in portrait mode, so it's nice for it to be able to switch like that without crashing the OBS software like it used to do a couple months ago. So props to you, Sloosh, for fixing that. Thank you. Let's see. Aside from that, showing touches is your preference. I do like to show the touches on my screen just so people know what I'm doing if like a lot happens, and then they can go back and, oh, he touched this, this, and that, you know, at the same time. It helped me when I was learning to DJ and stuff, when I could slow it down and visualize what they were doing and how they pull off some complex moves and stuff like that. So once you're all done, just hit the back button, and you'll have a play button. I don't think you're going to see it because it's going to cut the broadcast, but right now mirroring is stopped for me, and you can see here, let's go back to my full screen game. You can see here that it stopped. I'm going to go ahead and close out the Mona server, and I'm going to reopen it. Let's see here, desktop. Mona server. Okay, so I'm going to restart my Mona server right here. You can see that it's still got the HTTP error. That's okay. I'm going to press the green button. It says mirroring is started on my phone, and then here I've got the confirmation that my computer is now receiving data from my phone. That's what it looks like. It's going to start shoveling this information in. Now, once you are in OBS, here, I'll bring this up real quick. Let's see if we can do it this way. Okay. So once you're here in OBS, what you can do is you can go to a stream where you have your phone is supposed to be broadcasting, and you can see that once it starts broadcasting the data back into OBS, that your numbers will start like climbing up really fast, like you're in the Matrix. My phone is not showing that right now because I have to refresh. If you do have to refresh, you'll notice because it's not reflecting what I have up on my screen. So what you do is you just open the video source settings, double click on the playlist editor, and then click OK, and that should fix the problem. There you go. So again, all I did was open up the video source settings for my phone. I double clicked on the entry in the playlist editor, and I clicked OK, and that will reset the connection and bring it back up to normal. So you can see now that I've got full control, and it is shifting it back and forth. There is a delay. That's going to happen all the time. The only way you won't have a delay when you're streaming something wirelessly is when you're not streaming something wirelessly. So you'll always have a delay, period. The faster your internet connection, the shorter the delay, but it'll usually never be less than like a second and a half or two. That's not just the app, that's everything, so don't complain about it. It's just, you know, you wanted this is how it has to be. Sorry. Not sorry. So now what we can do is we know that we've got our servers working correctly, because it's doing its matrix thing right here. So what we're gonna do next is we're just gonna pretend that I don't have this set up. Okay, so we're going to create a new video. It's rtmp:// and now this is not your computer's IP address, and this is not your router's public IP address, or I'm sorry, or your modem's public IP address, and this is not your router's IP address. This is a new IP address. This is if you've ever seen a nerd with a shirt that said there's no place like 127.0.0.1, that means there's no place like home. Computers address themselves by either calling themselves localhost LOCALHOST, no space, or by addressing them by their own numeric entry, which is 127.0.0.1. That's universal for all Windows computers and possibly all Macs. I don't remember, but anyway. So you're going to type in 127.0.0.1 after the RTMP://. Then you're going to put another colon and the port number that it used to get into your computer, 1935. Make sure you add that, but before you click OK, at the top, make sure you change the video width to whatever your broadcast setting is. So if you're streaming it at 720, you're going to use 1280 by 720. That's 1280 pixels wide by 720 pixels tall. And I'm going to set it so that it doesn't have broadcast audio, but you are going to want to have it broadcast audio. Actually, I'm just going to cancel mine out and add my global source just because I don't want to have multiple sources around. This one's set up the same way anyway, it just defaults it to no 5. So you'll notice that as soon as you do that, it's going to connect to your server and grab that picture, and then it's going to throw it on there. You can now edit your scene, drag your picture around wherever you want it. So I like to maximize first. Maximize. I like to maximize mine first, and then I like to crop it. All right, and then we'll move it over to the side, and then we will work our magic, and there we go. So after I input my layout and do all the blah da 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 behind the scene, then this is what I wind up with. So that's pretty much it. Making a layout is the same way as working in OBS. You're just working with layers and pictures, just like you work in layers and sources. But I'm not going to go into that right now. I'm sure if you guys want, if you want me to go through how to make layouts and stuff, I will be more than happy to make a tutorial video for it. But you guys got to show me some love in the comment section. Tell me that you want it so that I know what you guys want. I'll make another video for you guys as well. So just to recap on what we did, we opened up the ports on our router, ports on our Windows firewall, ports on our third-party firewalls. You guys do that on your own. We downloaded the screen stream mirroring software from the Google Play Store, and we configured it to connect to our public-facing IP address, and then we tested that the port was open by going to canyouseeme.org and testing port 1935, which is the one that we opened. We had success, so we went ahead and plugged in all our settings into the screen stream mirroring application under other broadcasts, and after we got it plugged in, we saw that the data was communicating. Then we just set our scene up in OBS and input our source, and bada bing bada boom, it was there. After that, all you got to do is set up your your own layout, and then you're good to go. Just to prove that this is not in my wireless network or whatever, I will do this. Let's see, Pokemon Go. I'm going to turn my volume on. Okay, now the audio should be coming. Okay, there it is. Now it should be coming in through the microphone in my phone. Let's go for a walk. Like I said, it is adjusting to the wireless. That's why it's not the wireless, but the unstable connection that I've got right now, because my radio needs to be laced and so. Let's take a look here. Oh man, it's so bright outside. This is the 6th take that I've done for this video. I didn't realize I was connecting on the previous one. Again, that's the 4th time. So, let's put this up here. So this is my hood. area, a Cubone, a Conita, some snack. Alright. So, that's pretty much the tutorial. I apologize to non-Windows users and non-Android users that I didn't cover more of the things that you could use for your particular software, but I'm not a huge Apple fan. Fixing computers for a living, the only difference is that Apple's parts are just way more expensive to try to replace. They're also a lot more difficult, so I have to charge them more labor. And anyway, if you're streaming, chances are you're not really on Apple anyway, unless you're streaming from like an Apple handheld. Okay. But now I'm back in my house. Turn this camera off because it's creepy seeing myself twice. And that's pretty much it, guys. So I do hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. I do apologize for it being so long. But if you have any questions that this doesn't cover, please let me know in the comments. You can also contact me on Facebook at facebook.com/RADStreams, via Twitter at RADStreams. You can check me out on my Twitch. It's twitch.tv/RadRays2kx. I stream a lot of mobile-based games. I stream a lot of PC games. I like all genres. I'm always open to suggestion, and I usually leave my games open for my streamers to join. So if you enjoyed this video, please like it. Subscribe to my channel. I will be posting more videos, especially tutorial videos, because you know I'm a technical person and this is a kind of a technical thing that we're doing. So and then if you guys need anything else, please let me know. Rich Guy 12354, I know that you came in when I was testing my stuff yesterday, just to prove that this was, you know, a proof of concept that it would work. I saw you. I was surprised, man. I was only in there for 2 minutes and I had 7 people jump in the 2 minutes, and everybody was like, "Oh, you're back, you're back," and I'm like, "Not yet, not yet." And you were the last one in, and then I shut the stream off, and then I had to go do something, and you're like, "Oh, I missed it." Bro, I am so sorry. I just want to say a personal thank you to you directly. Thank you for always being there every time I stream, even if it's just briefly. Thank you for the donation. You did help me purchase this new chair that I'm sitting in. I'm really happy about it. My back is really happy. My scoliosis thanks you. My butt thanks you. It's awesome. To the rest of you guys, if you like this video, please tune in for more. Let me know what you want to see next, and I will try to do my best to bring you everything that I can in the best and fastest way possible. Until then, go catch 'em all, baby.